joined by Longwood University head coach Griff Aldrich. Coach.
Yeah, well, tonight, obviously a frustrating night for us. To be honest, a little bit of a microcosm of our entire season. I think in the second half, our season has been full of stretches where we show that we can be a really good team, and then stretches of just kind of lack of discipline, lack of playing with team focus, lack of effort, and that's been something that we've been working on all year. And it's the job of a coach to recruit pieces and then to put those pieces together. And reality is I wasn't able to do that this year. And 18 wins is a good thing. But I think we always try to measure ourselves at Longwood by, did you reach your potential? And this group, unfortunately, I don't think it did reach its potential. And that's certainly on me and the staff, because we just weren't able to press the right buttons this year and get them to play the way that I believe that they could have played. And it's a hard part of coaching. It's a hard part of sports. It's almost like parenting. You kind of see the potential in the group, and we saw flashes. We saw even elongated stretches, but we just were never able to kind of get that to gel. And that'll be a big disappointment, not only for me, but I think for everybody in our locker room for a while.
Griff, you talked about having a goal the last week or two. You talked to them about finishing strong. Did the play in the second half at least provide some of that, not giving up?
Yeah, I was extremely proud of the group for playing the way they did in the second half. I think we won by 12 in the second half. But Justin, it's really hard to overlook, if you can do that for two halves, what happens. And we really struggled to get that commitment to execute game plan, to compete. And again, for us, so much of our problems came down to the offensive end. If we weren't making shots, it really impacted us, and we were never able to really fix that this year. So yes, I'm extremely proud of the way they competed. I thought Jalen Bernard, battled the entire time. He's been a warrior the entire season. I thought Colby really was obviously had a good game scoring wise, but I thought just his I thought he just led us well and wouldn't let us break. And so was really proud of him. And then some things started to go our way, and that's the lesson so much, is if you just keep punching, if you stay the course. That was one of our main messages to the guys this week. You are going to face adversity. But you have to stay the course. And we hit a stretch in the first half again where we're shooting layups and we won't play off 2 feet, and we keep missing shots, which, we really had them in a half-court game. And then we start missing those shots, and it becomes transition, and the dam breaks, and we didn't have the resolve to stay the course.
Griff, you've talked about transformational leadership as opposed to transactional leadership. After a season like this, when you step back and kind of do some inventory, how do you transform what you saw this year?
Brian, it's a great question, man. The reality is I've been thinking about that all season, because, as whether your team's at the top or whether your team is struggling, you're always trying to evaluate, how's the organization working? Is the vibe right? where, are there any gaps that we need to plug? So you're always thinking about that. And, I think one of the hard parts with in the current state of college athletics is you're trying to, at Longwood, we do want to transform. You and I've talked about that a lot. It's harder to do that in the current environment. Some guys you only have for 10 months or 8 months. And then God bless the kids, with the transfer portal and the money. It's hard to, the Big South is a great example. I don't know how some of these kids can stay focused when they think, man, I could be making multiple six figures next year if I keep. It's hard. How do you be selfless in that moment? That's a tall order. I don't know many adults who can do that, much less 18 to 22-year-old kids. And so, I think college athletics is transforming. We have to transform with it, but we never will sacrifice our values, and we'll never not be about trying to positively impact, our guys. And the reality is, we closed out. I really hope that this season for our guys, we talk about pouring into the root, and I think the reality is we can all look at each other and say we didn't pour into the root well this year. And my hope is for these guys is that they do learn, so that in the future, I don't think anybody in that locker room thinks we met expectations. And so hopefully this is something that they will learn from, and be able to help them in a future season of their life.
Coach, you got a little bit into personnel and different players, talk about selflessness and staying focused. A little bit about Michael Christmas spending 4 years here and what he's been poured into the program, and how that name has become synonymous with Longwood basketball. Just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Michael. Special kid. Michael's story is he actually came on an unofficial visit to Longwood in high school. And if you talk to his dad, when he got into the car, he said he wanted to commit, and he had much bigger schools that were recruiting him at the time. And obviously Michael went to JMU and then came back here, but Michael and some others have really transformed the perception of Longwood basketball. Certainly in the Commonwealth, Michael was a 2-time state player of the year. He's extremely well known. I think he's been the MVP of the Pro-Am down in Hampton Roads. And so he's really elevated the Longwood basketball brand. And I think, Marty McGillen, one of our assistants, says, Michael and probably some others, Deshaun Wade, who's from that area, the 757, they've made it cool to go to Longwood if you're a basketball player in Virginia. And that's a big thing. And, I think Michael's loyalty to the program and his commitment to the program, and I would actually argue his maturity. Michael came back because he thought this was the best place for him to develop. And I think that's a real challenge that a lot of kids are missing right now. And kids don't have time to develop because they're always thinking about what's next. And I think Michael, with a strong family support, really kind of said, hey, this is a place you can go and really continue to develop and not have to worry about distractions. So he will be synonymous with Longwood basketball for years to come. It's been an honor to coach him and a privilege. He's a fine young man.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, buddy.